Hello, Floss Tube. It's Julie with Reflections Framing and Stitching. Today is Monday. It is the 3rd of August. Welcome, or welcome back if you've been here before. I have a crazy, discombobulated finishing video that will be attached to this. I am not good at how-to videos. I did it on the fly, and I think I don't know what to do. I'm confused as to what to do with it and where to show you the final finished product. I'm going to show you next my works in progress. I've been stitching, so I have progress to show you, and so I'm going to do that. I'm going to ask your opinion on something, so I would really like it if you would, in the comments, let me know what you do, how you handle things. So let's get started with, oh, and remember that wood box that I was going to put all my floss in for my new bird project? Dan got that done for me, so I was going to show you that. So let's start with WIPS, and the first one I'm going to show you is Southern Land. I know in the last video I kept saying Southland, Southland, Southland. That actually makes more sense to my little pea brain. Southern Land just doesn't seem to. But this is an owl forest. This is what it looks like. It's a beautiful piece. It's fun to stitch. I am working it on 40 count cream, and I did change the 2 called for blues, which were 930 and 932, I believe, to 927 and 928, because I wanted mine to be just a little less blue. So this is what it looks like now. As you can see, I've got some of the light blue started over here, and I finished this motif up here. So it's coming along. It is. I like it. I'm sure if you stitched it, you would like it too. So get on that and join me. That's what you should do. You should join me. All right, the next one I'm going to show you is also on my iPad, so let me bring it up real quick. It's my new bird. It looks like this. Bird in a basket. Oh gosh. Vintage bird nest is what it's called. I'm just going to start calling it vintage bird, I think. That's my new bird. I think it will look good with the other birds back here, don't you? I think it will look excellent. I'm still working on the nest. It's a big nest, but I'm making progress. I have all the eggs done, and the nest is taking shape. There's this rusty color here is actually a leaf, so I am getting out of nest there. I think the next time I work on it, I'll be putting in some more of this dark brown over this way. No, over this way. And I may work on that tonight, because last night I worked on something that wasn't that. Last night is what I did. Next up, I've worked on like 6 things the last couple weeks. Go me. The next thing is my garden fair from Courtney Collection. This is being worked on 4D count. Vintage lentil, I think. That's what, this is the piece I was working on in the last video where I was stitching and chatting. So I didn't work on it a lot, but I did finish filling in that middle. I'm going to fold it up so it's a little easier. This middle motif got filled in. Now I got to finish this one, and then and a little bit on the end, and then I can move on down to the next row. But that's what I've got so far. I have a friend named Sherry who finished this like lickety-split, and I got to give her props that she did, because it's a lot of stitching, but it's very pretty. So that was Garden Fair. Next up is Hummingbird's Garden from Samplers Not Forgotten. This was released not this past market, but last year, the year before's market. Bangs are bothering me. And I started this part here. Let's see. It's this band right here that I have started. Not finished with it. I've been wanting to work up here in the border, and it calls for Weeks Dye Works Grasshopper. And for some reason, again, my little pea brain kept bringing home bullfrog. It uses bullfrog too, but that's not, I have bullfrog. I needed grasshopper, and I finally did remember to bring it home. So I can now work on some of the green the next time I go to work on that one. So hopefully move that border along a little bit. Plus I'm procrastinating because the next band under that blue band is like a specialty stitch, and I don't normally do specialty stitches, so this could be interesting. Next, One Stitch at a Time from La Di Da. It looks like that. And I did have a little bit more done this time than the last time. I started adding the flowers on the tree. I actually thought I had more flowers on the tree than I do, but you know, some is better than none. So I worked on that one, and I worked on Abigail. Abigail is next. There's Abigail. I'm just doing this, and I'm doing it on bow truckle. Oh, the One Stitch at a Time I'm doing on 25 count Vintage Country Mocha Lugana, and I'm doing it over 1 with a full cross because I like that. So this one is 40 count bow truckle from Tabby Cat, and I added some of the blue to her bottom half of her dress. So I'll probably, next time I work, I'll probably finish the white over on this side and then start the blue and bring it down too, so that I can then just start going across. That's the plan anyway. Hopefully that'll work. Last but not least for my stitching is Love Abide. Now this is the piece that I'm trying to get done this year, and I've just got the tree and the words. So let's see, this is August now. August, September, October, November, December, so 5 months. I probably need to up my game a little bit if I'm going to finish it this year. And I would really like to finish it this year. So I did last night, I did a couple of branches, and some leaves. I did the leaves here, the leaves there, brought branch up. So now I can start working down, which is what I prefer, down and over. And so you can see the whole thing. In case you're not familiar, there's the whole thing. Love it, love it, love it. Looking forward to having it finished though. All right, so that is all of my stitching. I was going to show you, this is one that Dan finished again before COVID. And I talked to him yesterday about making a frame similar to this one. You know, make it the same. So it'll have a back piece, and then it'll have the front piece, and this will fit down inside. And I think what I want him to do is make the frame and etch some snowflakes and cardinals into it. I think that'll look good. This is the piece I'm talking about. Don't ask me who it's from or what its name is, because I can't remember right now. If anyone is interested, put a comment below that you're interested in knowing what it is, and I will let you know what it is. And Dan's idea, he wants to hang icicles down off the bottom of the frame, and I told him I'd have to ponder that and see what I think. But it's a beautiful piece. It deserves to be finished, and it just has been languishing at the shop, so it's time to finish it. All right, that is the stitching show and tell. I was going to show you my box. So, doesn't it look pretty now? He did have to put some wood in a couple of places back here on this side, and then someone's having a nightmare, and then also on this side where the laminate was coming off. But he did pretty good matching color wise, and you know, it's all nice and cleaned up. And then I have all of my colors just barely fit in. Goes all the way to the back. The only problem I have with this system is these are slickery and they tend to pop up on me, but I'm dealing with it. I like having them all together, not on a ring. I don't have to dig through because I put them in numerical order. So I just rifle through until I come to the number. I pop the one behind it standing up so I know where the one I'm using goes back in, and I lay the one I'm using on the top of the box, and it just works pretty darn spiffy, if I do say so myself. So thank you, Dan. You did a beautiful job, and I appreciate it greatly. So that is everything I have to show you. Now I want to ask for your help. And I don't know if you'll be able to help me. In looking for this red trim, I ran across a problem that I have had for quite a while and have just put on the back burner, but I am done putting it on the back burner. It really, truly needs to be figured out now, and that is cording and how to store it in a manner that it's not. I have a big, it looks like this, only, you know, 3 times larger, of pieces, parts, you know, that are, you know, some are this long and some are this long, and that, you know, come in handy when you're trying to finish things, but they're all in a knot in a drawer. And I can't for the life of me figure out the best way to store them. I've been watching some videos, and a lot of people put them on little cards that they make. And I'm going to say, as much as I would like to think that I could do that, or that I would do that, chances are very good that I would not do that. It's the reason I use floss away bags, because I can just stuff them in a bag and they'll, you know, I don't have to stop and wind it around anything. Or and I thought about using like Ziploc bags for this, but it's the actual storage of the Ziploc bags, because I don't want it to do what this does with, you know, in my drawer, which is it, you know, they tend to pop up because they're slick. So I'm just wondering if any of you have a great idea that I haven't thought about, that doesn't involve putting it back on a card, because I'm not going to do that. It is way too easy to just wad it up and throw it in a ball. And I know that sounds really bad, but it's a true statement. You know, a lot of times I'll have Dan take stuff back to the craft room for me, and he just, you know, he'll scoop it all up and he'll just drop it in a ball, and that's where it'll stay. So I need it to be somewhat neat and tidy and easy to put back to how it was. And that might include, it might include a bag, but then how do I keep the bags from popping up? On this, I could run that. There's a, you know, in that drawer, there's a rod that runs from the front to the back. I could punch a hole in the bottom of all of the bags and run the rod through, but then they wouldn't come out. They'd be stuck in there. And, oh, you gotta go outside? Okay. Hold, please. I'm back. She's such a good puppy. Let you know when she has to go potties. Such a good Gertie. Yeah, that's a good girl. So she's doing really well. Really, really well. Okay, back to the situation at hand. I'm throwing myself on FlossTube's mercy. Someone out there has a brilliant idea. You just need to share it with me. So if you have any suggestions of a lazy person's way to store their ribbons, their cordings, that doesn't involve winding it on something, because I know myself and I'm not going to do it. It's just, you know, I have better things to do than sit and wind cording around things. That would be the smart way to do it. But then you get down to a smaller piece and you never know when you might need that small piece. It doesn't wind so well. And I want them, even if I were to say, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to wind things around. Okay. Then how are we storing these? Even if I committed to winding, because, you know, you're going to have like this one, you know, I've even got the thing and it's not wound around there. So I'm going to wind it. You're watching. I'm going to wind it. I'm going to tuck the end in. I'll probably never find it again. But I'm tucking the end in. It's nice and neat. But obviously, this one doesn't need that big a cord. It would only wrap around a couple of times. But anyway, would they all need to be the same size? And then how do we store them so that they're readily seen? You know, like they would need to, I would think they would need to be stored so you could see the color. I don't know. That's why I'm asking you guys. if you could give me some ideas. I've been watching some videos. So far, I haven't seen anything that's really grabbed my attention. But if you can point me to someone's video, or if you have a good idea, now's the time to speak up. I have been hiding my dirty little secret, which is my craft room that previously was a crap room. And then I got it all cleaned up, and I did a whole video on how great it looked and how good it was, has now morphed back into a crap room. And I got to work on it. I got to start working on it. I have to. I have to weed out things. I still have scrapbooking stuff, and I know I'm never going to scrapbook again. Melanie scrapbooks, I need to just give it to her. Abby keeps saying she's going to scrapbook, but is she really? Is she really? I don't know. But I could give it all to Melanie and clear that stuff out and give myself more room. And then I have all the fabric leftovers from project bags. They're not big enough for a project bag. I don't sew. I don't quilt. I used to quilt. Am I ever going to quilt again? Like, let's say I close the shop, I'm retired. Am I going to quilt? Chances are good I am not going to quilt. They would all be like scrap quilts. And none of the fabric would match. I guess that's why they call it a scrap quilt. But then what am I going to do with it? So I probably wouldn't ever do that. So maybe I need to get rid of some of that fabric, because I've got 1, 2, 3, 5, 6 file cabinets full of fabric scraps, and about the same amount that's not filed because crap room. So I've got to start doing some of these things. They need to get done, and I just haven't been doing them for health reasons. But it needs to happen. So I may start doing a series on changing my crap room back into a craft room. I don't know. It takes up stitching time. I think that's part of the problem, as I just want to stitch. But it needs to happen. So anyway, what else? Do I have anything else to say? Do you girls have anything to say? Lola says no. Gertie says, don't bug me, I'm chewing on my bone. Remy's just laying here in the L position, sleeping. So I'm going to guess they have nothing to say to you either. Hi FlossTube, it's Julie with Reflections Framing and Stitching. Today is Sunday, it is August the 2nd, and it is our wedding anniversary. Our 46th wedding anniversary. So if you hear a sound in the background, what you're hearing is the ice cream maker, because Dan, we decided we'd splurge and have homemade ice cream for dessert for our anniversary. So I apologize if you can hear it. He says he's the ding ding man. I'm not sure about that, but anyway, I thought I'm trying to get a finish done for the state fair, because I like to wait until the last minute to do everything. So I thought while I'm doing this, I could kind of show you the steps that I go through. I'm sure other people do things differently. You know, some people would use sticky board on this. I am not a fan of sticky board. I would rather use regular foam board and Aleene's tacky glue. This is not an heirloom piece, so I'm not worried about gluing it. What it is, I was experimenting, and I think this was the first 36 count even weave that came out. I think it was called Modena. They now have actual Lugana in 36 count. But I decided I wanted to stitch this piece over one using a tent stitch on 36 count and see how it came out. So it's very teeny tiny. Very, very teeny tiny. I can't tell you the name of the pattern. I did this probably a year ago. My hair is really flipping out, isn't it? Well, you'll just have to ignore it, and it is what it is. I want to say it's like a Shannon Christine, maybe. I'll try and look it up and put it here if I find the name of it. If I remember to find the name of it, because that's probably more likely. I'm sure I can find the name of it because the chart's still at work. But I don't know if... I don't know. Anyway, I thought I would kind of show you how I go about finishing some things that I'm not framing, although you still will use some techniques. For instance, I stretched this before I'm going to glue it, just because I want it to be as straight as I can. And you know, when you stretch it or you lace it, I don't think you get quite as straight finish as what you do if you pin it first. But that's just my opinion. Again, everybody can do their own thing however they want to do it. So I usually try and get the fabric straight. You can see I've pulled threads until it's straight. I don't know, can you see? Can you see? It's almost the same color. I'll bring it up real close. So there you can kind of see I've pulled threads until it's good and straight, and then I'm just going to trim those down a little bit so there's not so many little loose parts running around trying to be glued. I'm doing this on the fly, so I was going to sit down and do it, and I thought, well, I should record this and maybe other people would be interested. I am not a professional finisher by any means. I do my own finishing. I do not finish for other people. I used to. Before I bought the shop, when I worked for Marianne, I did finishing for other people. But I don't anymore because I don't have time. Now that might change, I don't know. So anyway, this is really teeny tiny. It's like 1 3/4 inches by 1.5 inches. So it was difficult to stretch it. I'm not going to lie, it was very difficult to stretch it. But I did. So I'm going to set this aside right now because I'm going to show you. I asked Dan if he could make me a tiny frame for this to fit into, to make it into an ornament. And I asked him to mimic the top of this, I don't know, dome, globe, whatever you want to call it, that's around the bird. If he could mimic the top of that and put a little hole in it so I could use it as an ornament. So this is what he came up with. Again, I don't know, I don't have any white paper. So there, you can kind of see it. He came up with this design, and then this, well, it doesn't fit right now because it's not done, but because the fabric's in the way. But this will sit down into this little groove here. It will fit in there, and then before I do that, I want to paint this black. So that's going to be my first step, is painting this black. I'm not priming it. Again, this is not a, what's the word I'm looking for? Heirloom piece. It is just something that I tried as an experiment and I would like to do something with. So the fair entries are due on Tuesday night or Wednesday at the latest. Something like that. If I get it done, I get it done. If I don't get it done, you know, there's always next year, because here in Nebraska, we have 3 years from the time we finish something that we can enter it into our fair. And like I said, I think I finished this about a year ago, and it's just been hanging around the shop, and I ran across it when I was kind of cleaning up. And I thought, you know, self, you should do something with this. And self said, yeah, you should. You could put it in the fair then. So I brought it home. I asked Dan. He said, sure. Because that's what husbands are supposed to say when their wives ask them to do something. Yes. Their response is supposed to be, sure. Not why, not when, just sure. So that is exactly what he said. He said, sure, I could do that. So right now I'm just painting, and I'll let the front of it dry while I glue the extra fabric down. And I want to make sure it's nice and neat. Now Dan is going to probably tell me that I'm going to need to sand between coats of paint. And he'd be probably correct, because otherwise you don't get the best finish. Isn't that right, Dan?
Sure.
Oh, you're a funny man. You're a funny man. That's why I've kept you around all these years. All these long years. So, glue. I just use Aleene's tacky glue. It's acid-free, so it's not going to do any, it's not going to eat through the fabric like a regular glue that does have acid in it would do. What?
I used Harbor Freight to glue it together.
Okay.
Because Harbor Freight is not the best quality tool place, but this glue is very cheap, and after a couple projects, it's worked very well. So for little stuff, I've been using that.
But that's wood glue. That
Yep.
is not for this purpose. This purpose you need a tacky glue, and it needs to be acid-free, because even though this isn't a family heirloom piece,
Could be.
not with our kids, honey. I keep telling you, they've already told me they don't want anything in this house. It's all going in a dumpster. And I'll be dead, so it will be fine. People are horrified when I tell them that. And I'm like, look, I'm going to be dead. I'm not going to be hanging around going, what are my kids doing with my stuff? I have better things to do. I'm going to be up on a screened-in porch stitching. Up in heaven.
Wings will get in the way.
What? My wings? I'm not so sure that I'm going to have those. Let's not get carried away. So pretty much what I've done is I've just put glue all the way around. And then I'm just going to fold the sides in to the middle, and fold, you know, if I was good at this, I'd have a camera angled down so you could see me folding in the sides. But like I said, I'm not a finisher. I'm not a photographer.
And I'm not a lawyer.
And so, you know, I will show you after. I have just folded them over and pulled them tight. And I like to make sure that, I'm not sure the best way to describe it, that I've over folded instead of going straight up with it and making it perfectly straight. I like to make sure that the ends kind of go in so that when you fold them over, they don't hang over the sides. Clear as mud, I guess. So that's what I'm doing right now. is making that, I don't know if you'll be able to tell, but it is going in at an angle. And then I will add glue to those sides, and I will keep kind of mushing it in to the foam core so that it sticks. Doesn't take very long to do. And it doesn't take that much glue either. So you just want to make sure that it's all down, so it'll lay nice and flat inside that little frame that Dan has created. This paint, I'm just using Americana Deco Art black acrylic paint. Okay, I've got one side folded in, and now I'm going to fold the other side in. And you might be able to tell better now that I've folded those ends in towards the center a little. I've over folded it. I think we'll vote this worst how-to video ever. But you might get a little information out of it. So there it is. There's the front. And you can see the sides are kind of straight. There's not a bulge at the corner because I did kind of fold those in, and it makes the tension better for some reason. And there's the back. And if Dan has done his job right, and I have done my job right, that should fit into that opening that he created. Because this started out, this frame, see, it's already dried to the touch. This frame started out as two pieces, a back piece and then the front piece with the opening in it. But sometimes, especially if you paint something, it fills in a little bit and things don't fit quite right. But I think this is going to just fit. I don't want to put it in there quite yet, but I'm going to go ahead and paint the back side. This isn't again a difficult finish. It shouldn't be intimidating in any way, shape, or form for anybody. The best way to learn how to finish is to try it. And you can try it on with blank pieces of fabric. You don't have to try it on something that you've actually stitched, in case you do end up getting glue on it or paint on it or whatever. You can do it just with a blank piece of fabric and practice that way. That's how I learned. No one taught me. I just kind of thought it through. How would I do this? What's the best way for me to do this? Do I need it to be, an heirloom piece, and really the only thing you would do differently is instead of using the glue, you'd lace that down. But you still got to glue it in. So that's why I say I'm not sweating that.
What about the people that don't have access to a laser cutter or CNC?
Well, that's where you want to develop a relationship with someone whose husband has one. We do sell your stuff in the store, and you do have the ability to adjust the size. So For instance, let's say you stitched this and you used 40 count, so it's a little bit smaller than this 36 count. So you don't need that opening quite that large. He could adjust it. He could make a custom one for you. You just would have to let me know that information in advance. You know, we're not trying to do it as, well, I'm not. Maybe when you retire, you will want to do it as a...
People do.
People do, as a way to supplement our income.
You'd be surprised how many people have gotten into laser cutting. I know my mom, the couple that lives down the street from her, they have a business and they craft about every weekend
Well, yeah.
with it.
And you could, but you do have to have some talent as far as coming up with ideas and designs and things like that. And I don't know that that's your wheelhouse, and I'm not sure that it's my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
I don't know that it is. How quickly would you say we could sand this?
As soon as it's dry.
Like, I just did...
Not the back yet.
No, not the back, but feel it. Is it...
Yeah, I'll look at this.
Okay. Because when you paint wood, it raises the grain, so you should sand it and then put a second coat over it to give it that nice, smooth finish, professional finish. According to my husband, the woodworker, you know, he did begin life as a shop teacher, so hopefully he knows what he's talking about. Is it going to fit? It does. It fits in that hole. Now you'll see from the side it is sticking up, but that's, I'm going to put a little piece of trim around there, like, I think I'm going to do red, but I just happen to have a blue, just twisted DMC that I will put around there that gives something for that to hold on to and sit on top of. And it will also hide sins that, you know, you may have. For instance, you can see just a little bit of the fabric showing along the edges when you look at the, it will help to hide those edges. Look, it fit, barely.
And you said you're putting something around the edge anyway?
I'm putting like a trim. Ha! I got it out. I don't do sanding. I don't do sanding. I do painting, I do gluing. Connie does not do painting or gluing. You know, my friend Connie. But and you should always replace your glue cap so your glue doesn't dry out. And I will have to make, I think red would look sharp on there, don't you? Like if I could remember the color of red that I used on that, I would make the trim, I think, out of that, the same reds as I have on there. So I may not be able to finish this until tomorrow night, but I will finish and show you the complete. So now it's nice and smooth.
220 grade.
He used 220 grit just in case you were interested. So it's nice and smooth, but there are some places where it's gone down to the wood. I don't know if you can see that along the edges. So you might want that look, you know. I don't mind a little bit of wear along the edges, and I may just...
Perfectly imperfect.
It's gonna be, and there's some along the outside edges too, and I may just leave it that way. Because I like it that way.
No, I'll do it back.
I don't think it needs another coat, Dan.
Oh,
Do
another
it?
coat of paint?
Yeah.
Up to
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay. We both agree. We're not going to do another coat. So I'm going to get my paint cleaned up. I put way too much. I needed maybe 1/8 of a teaspoon for this, and I think I poured a tablespoon out. So I got to put it back in. So that's where we're at for right now. I'm going to glue the actual piece in now. Are you going to like wax that, Dan, to give it a little? So we should probably do that before I glue the piece in, right? Okay. So yeah, I'm going to stop the video for right now, and he's going to do a little wax job. Maybe not a whack job, but a wax job, and maybe I'll turn it back on when he's waxing it, just to kind of show you how we do that. So I will see you in just a second. Okay, we're back. For you, it was only a couple minutes. For us, it was maybe 20. The ice cream got done in the meantime, and Dan has his paste finishing wax from Minwax. He has a dark wax color also that could be used on this. It just kind of adds a richness to, like if you're putting the dark wax on black, it adds a richness to it, but he said that's at work. So
Yep.
He's just going to use the clear wax.
Yeah, this is a lot cheaper to pick up a thing of clear wax at Home Depot or Menards, and it will last you a lifetime.
Forever.
Yeah, if you keep it sealed good. So it's very easy to work with. I just put a little bit on my soft towel and just rub it in. Doesn't need to be real thick, just enough to cover it.
And then here, let's show kind of what it looks like going on. Kind of chunky going on, but he'll be wiping that off. So don't panic if you try this and it looks that way. That's how it's supposed to look.
Put them on the back too.
Yes, because you always do your backside.
Kind of a delicate little piece at the top.
Yes, it is. I'm a little worried about it going to the fair, but...
Okay, then you got to let it sit up for about 5 to 10 minutes. Don't go any longer than that, because if it totally dries out, then it's hard to get off completely.
Doesn't it turn kind of white too?
After a long time it will, but no.
Okay. So we're going to wait another 5 to 10 minutes and we'll be back. Okay, we're back. It's been 5 minutes. So
I'd rather go too short than too long. So just another soft rag and just wipe it off. Doesn't give much of a sheen, but it gives a little bit of a sheen. Kind of a antique-y looking sheen.
yeah, I don't want it shiny, but a little bit of a sheen is good.
It just gives it kind of a, yeah, I've been around a while.
You have been around a
I
while.
have been around a long time, actually.
You've been around a long time, hon. We're old. Getting more decrepit every day.
Just keep wiping it until you don't get any more
Residue?
residue on there. And you got that little sheen. I'm going to set it down on the table so I don't...
Make sure you get the wax out of the corners. Yeah, that top piece is really delicate. While he's wiping, I found this trim down in my stash, so I think I'm just going to use that instead of making my own, because color-wise it goes pretty good, and it's nice and soft and bendable. And I'm going to hope that it hides my sins, because this one has a pretty big one. The fabric is showing quite a bit on the top. My fault entirely. I didn't get it cut quite to the right size, but in my defense, trying to cut this on my glass cutter machine was not easy. And I don't like using a straight edge because it never turns out right. So I needed to cut it just a little bit smaller than I did. If it doesn't turn out, it doesn't turn out. It's not a big deal. Like I said, this was an experiment. I wanted to try over one using that particular fabric. So if it doesn't end up at the fair, it's fine. I do try and send things to the fair. I don't really care. Again, I've said this before. I don't care whether it wins anything. I don't care what the judge says about it. Set one person's opinion on that one particular day. So I'm just doing sending things to the fair to get it out in the public eye and keep cross-stitch, you know. Maybe I can inspire someone to start stitching, or inspire someone to come back to stitching, or inspire someone to try something they haven't tried before. So it's not a big deal for me if I don't get a ribbon. Okay, so he's got that all nice and pretty and shiny. See the little sheen on that? Looks good. I'm popping that in there like that. I'm going to show what that ribbon's going to look like. So I'm going to put a little spot of glue in the base here. What you doing?
Well, I'm just showing them that if you don't want to use the wax, you can spray it. I would recommend a satin or semi-gloss at the most for this kind of finish, and just a water base. This is the old, I think this used to be Minwax, but Prolex. The carpenters have kind of settled on this finish. It's available at Ace Hardware, probably other places too.
Now when one is using glue for finishing, you want to use enough glue, but you don't want to use so much that it oozes out of corners and stuff. So I've just put little dots, and I haven't put it right up to the corner because it's going to spread out a little bit, and this fits tight enough that I'm not really going to have to worry about it popping out. So what I don't want to happen is have the glue ooze out. So that's why I said a little dab will do ya. And I'm just going to kind of press it down so it gets spread out evenly.
Does it need to be clamped?
No, does not need to be clamped.
Pressure with a book or something?
No, I don't need to do any kind of, because it fits in there pretty tight. It's not going anywhere.
Oh, it's like the blizzard. You can flip it over and it doesn't fall out.
I have never had a blizzard that I could flip over and it wouldn't fall out.
You get a free one at Dairy Queen when they do it.
Well, I have never had, but then, you know, it usually has to travel here from Dairy Queen. So anyway, I am going to, and since I don't have a camera to show you how I do it, I'm just going to put a very light line of glue, again, I don't want it to ooze, around the edges, and I'm just going to place this. Now I will say, I get narked on every time I use some sort of cording. She does not like to see glue on the ends. And I would just like to tell her she could just go bite me, because it's impossible to not have glue showing on your ends. So one thing you do not want to do is to start it like in the middle anywhere, because your eye will naturally go to that point. I usually start it on the corner and end it on the corner, so that hopefully I can tuck in. Uh-oh, did it break? It did.
What happened?
When you did the thing, it broke the edge off, I think. You see it hanging there?
Pause and I'll see if I can salvage it.
Pause, he says, pause. Okay, so you can kind of see my glue. I try to be very careful along the edges, not to get it on the front side. So there's just a skosh of glue on there, and I'm starting to wrap my trim around the edges.
Careful.
And I'm trying also not to break off Dan's repair job. I knew that was going to be a delicate situation. Because it's so tiny, but you know, that's what my vision had, so that's what it is. Now I'm coming around the home. I got it all the way around. And what I gotta remember to do is to make sure that that trim kind of is pushed up over the front edge to hide the fact that my fabric is showing a little more than what I wanted it to. And then to finish it off, I'm going to have to put a little dab of glue on the end here in the corner, let that dry, and then snip it off. There is no tucking it under on this. It's got to be, you just can't tuck it. But I'm going to let this kind of dry a little bit before I do that. I'm not real happy with how that corner is looking. It's looking a little rounded, and I want it to look square. Or I have to make the other corner look a little rounded. But I do think it's going to, for the most part, cover the edge where the stitching's not clear to the edge. So it's going to look like that after I trim this. Okay, I'm going to go for it. And I like to try and trim it kind of at an angle. And you want sharp scissors for that. This is not, I did not have sharp scissors for that.
This is the behind the scenes tweaking.
This is the behind the scenes. We're gonna have to trim that up when it's dry. You can see what's happened is when I cut the trim, my scissors weren't sharp enough, so I'm gonna have to trim that when I'm done. But I'm not gonna make you sit here while I wait for it to dry. So I'll show you the finished project when it's completely finished. And hopefully you learned something from this mess. That was a video, should you ever see it. We'll talk to you soon. Okay, it's the next day. I'm going to show you the finished project. I still need to work on the one corner, just a little bit more trimming on it, but I haven't done it yet. But this is what the finished product looks like. This is how it looks. There is a teeny tiny hole up here. I'm going to put like a jump ring through there, and then I'll put a cording to to hang it from. But that's how it looks right there. What do you think? Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, and you would be so kind as to leave me a like, you know, a thumbs up, an emoji, a great video. I was bored. You know, I mean, you don't have to be mean, but a comment would be nice of some kind or another, even an emoji. Answer my question. I am going to make it a pinned comment once the video posts about floss storage, or not floss storage, ribbon storage. This stuff, cording storage. Do you have, and ribbon storage, do you have an idea? I'm going to put a pinned comment on that and see if anyone can give me a brilliant idea, because I know you ladies are all brilliant. And some of you men might be too. I don't know. So yeah, if you could leave any, all of the above, that would be awesome. And I will see you in the next video, however that may be, whenever that may be. I'm hoping to try and do them a little bit more frequently, maybe every 2 weeks or every week or every, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I'm not going to make any promises. But you take care until next time and enjoy your stitching. Bye.